GM everyone. I am delighted to moderate the spiciest, most fun panel you will see at this conference. My name is Alex. I run a company called Nansen. Some people know me as a pudgy penguin, sometimes shitposts on X. But let's go over to the panel. Why don't you start with a quick intro? Leah, who are you and what are you building?
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm a founding partner of BITGPT. We're a decentralized AI network. We're an AI solution, not a blockchain. And we basically have built different layers of the stack to be enabled to enable an agent commerce experience. So think of what Shopify did for e-commerce. We want to do a similar experience for e-commerce in the future, agent commerce. Yeah.
Hi everyone, Jansen here, co-founder of Virtuous Protocol. If you open your crypto tracking app, you see us as the first of the list today. But jokes aside, what we do for folks who do not know is that we are building the society for AI agents. We have a launchpad and an ecosystem where founders come to build AI agents together. We have technologies that enable people to build autonomous agents. And the next exciting thing that we are building, it's called ACP, Autonomous Commerce Protocol, where we aim to be the Swift of the agentic economy. So that's a bit about what we do. Excited to jam with the folks here today.
And you have no leather jacket today, Jansen. What's up with that?
Dubai is too hot.
All right. Ben?
Hello everyone, I'm Ben. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bybit. I feel like I should be on the last panel as well, talk about perps. But again, I actually recently made a tweet about how centralized exchanges use AI technology both for our clients and for the running the exchange. So I can share some light. But I have a question. Why are you moderating?
Why am I moderating?
I mean, what do you got to do with AI?
You know what, Ben? I actually have a degree in AI.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 years ago, back in the... So I like to say I was an AI before it was cool. That's why I'm on the panel. Let's warm up to the central question of this panel. How do you use AI in your personal life today, Leah?
Yeah, so I think my personal usage also is why I'm so bullish on it being privacy preserving, because I actually use AI to help me in instances where I wouldn't want to share the data with someone else. So I don't know, please read my blood healthcare results or help me figure out something financial that I wouldn't want to share with my intimate circuit. I am very aware though that I'm giving all that data always to a centralized platform. And I think that personal experience really led me to want to also create privacy preserving architecture.
Jansen?
Pretty much I use it to replace my brain. Like this morning, I told it to like, okay, yeah, Alex was like giving some guidance, topics. I told the AI, was like, hey, how do I answer these questions, right? Like, yeah, and so I think pretty much I stopped using my brain anymore.
So are you saying that ChatGPT generated the questions and you answered them with ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just a fully ChatGPT
Interesting.
panel with
Wow.
our faces in front.
Incredible. Ben?
Well, I think I like most people, I use replacing Google to search for things. And this week is kind of became a doctor. Had a stressful week. I'm getting a lot of headache. I'm asking, hey, Panadol's not working. Can you give me something else? And it's telling me, why don't you try this? Okay, let's try it. So
that is a good use case. I've actually used it for medical stuff too. I mean, no medical advice, but might be a good use case. Yeah. Now, we're going to talk about AI wallets, right? Maybe Jansen, you're a good one to talk about this first. What does it mean to be an AI wallet? Like, how should we think about that? What's the mental model for an AI wallet?
Yeah. So at least in my view, an AI wallet is when money is controlled by an autonomous agent that has a goal and the ability to manage resources to achieve that goal. So meaning that, think of it as giving an agent the ability to influence humans and other agents because you control money. You can influence them for a transaction, for a job, to get them to do a job for you. You can influence them to work for you, right? Or to do anything on your behalf. So it's giving agents the power to influence.
Interesting. Leah, do you have a perspective on what AI wallets are? How should we think about them?
I mean, I resonate with you. I think how we approached it as a business was twofold. We first realized, like, how can we enhance wallet experience with AI. So you're kind of deploying AI into wallets, because let's face it, like UX is still a friction after 10 years, and like maybe AI can solve it. And that's how we started off. We built like a wallet co-pilot for the B2C side. And we saw that resonate really well, because at the end, like before I'm doing like 20 different trading steps, like cross-chain interoperability, having to figure out or remember my seed phrase, like an AI is apt at doing all those steps. And then I think beyond that, it's actually when we want to create any autonomous anything, like in society, you know, when someone turns 18, they usually also get a wallet at a bank or a credit card. And I think giving someone delegation ability, like you said, requires the ability to hold money, to pay. And so I think giving agents wallets and wallet functionality is in the next step to really a commercial kind of network effect.
Ben, do you think AI wallets or AI agents are going to be trading more on decentralized exchanges or on centralized exchanges?
Yeah, so to me, look, this whole AI wallet, I think to me is more of running errands at the current stage. You want some agents to help you to do certain transactions. But we deal with hardcore quant trading firms who have already been using AI machine learning for many, many years, trading on the centralized exchanges. And that is on scale. But I don't think, at least from my perspective, I haven't seen retail user feel comfortable enough to put a bunch of money into an AI agent and let it trade to make money. Again, like maybe my question is, you can give AI agent 5,000 to run errand. Would you give it $500,000 to make a trade? Would
So
you?
it's a very good point.
Yeah.
You probably won't, and because a lot of times, right, I think if you look at a trader mindset,
Yeah.
it's the dopamine you get by making good trades. So sometimes it's actually quite questionable. It's like, would you actually let an agent trade for you, giving him all the dopamine, versus you trading yourself and you getting the dopamine of like, oh yeah, I made this, I lost this.
No, I disagree. Traders don't trade for dopamine. They're
Trade for-
trading for profit, right? Everyone else downstairs, you're trading for is the result, right? I think the dopamine, whatever, or regret is the process, right?
Yeah.
But to me, at the end of the day, AI agent probably is on DEX if
Yeah.
you want to fully automate it. But the most usage of AI machine learning trading is on SEX
Yeah.
because it requires hardcore. All the HRP, high frequency trading firms are using that already for years. But today's topic, I think, is more for retail. I don't think it's been used for on SEX for now.
So you bring up a very good point. Like, is there a difference between AI agents and just trading bots? Do you have a perspective on that, Jansen?
Yeah, no, I think just giving a perspective from the ecosystem, right? So there are a bunch of developers who are building, these autonomous traders, right? They can ask you for what's your portfolio risk levels, right? Do you want 30% in high risk, 70% in low risk, right? And then these agents then, if it's low risk, they will do some yield farming optimization for you. So you don't have to continuously move your pools around. They will automatically scan and move the pools for you. Or like rebalancing your V3 sniper position, right? They do that for you. Or some even now they do long short strategies. They will say like based on certain market information, like there's a certain news, certain launch, certain FUD that's happening, certain sentiment, all these different data points that curate it and they create long short strategies for you, right? And that's what we see today in the ecosystem. Now, that initial wave of innovation today is happening on DEXs mainly because the APIs are, I think, easier to use, I guess. And there's still a decent amount of liquidity in the markets. And a lot of times, these agents are providing services for DeFi-related applications, like yield protocols. Right? So that's why I haven't seen agents that have API into sexes yet. But I think it will come. Because I think this is also an interesting question for Ben, right? Because like today, a lot of APIs are following these model context protocol standard. They call it MCP.
Exactly.
Right? They just basically it's an API, they wrap it in a way that they give descriptions. They give like, okay, this API in Bybit, for example, they describe it as this is the API to buy a token, blah, 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 right? So then the agent can read that API and say that, okay, let me execute buys using this API. So this adoption, this MCP thing built by Anthropic about a couple of months ago, so it's starting to gain adoption. We might see that happening. And then if exchanges start wrapping all the APIs with MCP, then it allows all these innovators to come in and innovate with sexes as well.
It's actually a very good point. I mean, you could imagine having a Bybit MCP and then the agent sort of interfaces with that. And MCPs are kind of interesting because they're somewhat composable, a bit like crypto. So you can kind of see that almost taking the place of the composability you have of DeFi and DEXs and so on. Leah, I have a question for you. It feels like AI wallets, there's some analogy to like self-driving cars, for example. And so if a self-driving car crashes, like who's to blame for that? So is there a similar question here for, BitGPT? If someone uses an AI wallet and the AI does something crazy, spends all your money on, women's clothes in my case or something, like maybe I don't want that. Do I blame you? Who do I blame? How does that work?
So I love this question always because it allows me to show off a bit about something a bit on the deep tech side of what we've built, which is that inherently our agents sit on top of small language models. Small language models are when you distill a large language model down to a smaller condensation of parameters, and then it can actually be stored on device as well. So that's one benefit. But the other benefit of a small language model is that you give it task-specific fine-tuning. So one thing I always say is like, you don't have to worry about someone with no legs of running away, right? So that's what the methodology we apply to our models. In having swarm intelligence, so lots of little small language models that all have a very specific, concrete ability, I don't have to worry about it going AWOL. That is what happens when we take a large language model and we think one model is going to service every single one of these minute use cases, and then it doesn't have guardrails in place either, apart from being like super costly, expensive, all that jazz as well, right? So personally, that's how we addressed it on an architectural level, is saying like, okay, we are aware that there are guardrails that have to be in place. We are aware that money is extremely sensitive. So first was on the actual agent architecture itself, and then on the user experience level, our experience is still you write a prompt, which is analogous to an intent. Okay, I want to do this. I want you to go fetch that. And then you sign it off, the transaction. And there is no transaction that can happen without your signage. We chose that because trust is really important to onboard a bunch of users. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I actually have a challenge the question, but let me create a joke first, right? So if an agent's managing your money and he misuses your money, I mean, you should sue the agent, man. And the agent has to buy insurance. Like,
Take it to agent court.
no, you have an agent insurance company that provide agents insurance for a premium of whatever transaction that they do, and then you allow for that coverage. That's new business model. Whoever wants funding, talk to these angel investors here.
No, I agree. I think there's a whole suite of services that we're going to see grow out of the Internet of Agents, and one of them is.
But my challenge question, right, is get things a bit spicier, which is if you allow a human to come into the loop of approving a transaction before it goes through, one, it makes it a bit slower. Two, there's still a human involved. I'm actually curious, right? Wouldn't a better take to create an adversarial agent that challenges your personal agent whenever he does a transaction? For example, right, let's say if I told my agent, right, okay, I give you $5,000, this is for my grocery shopping, okay? Then he will know your purchase behaviors and whatnot, so he's meant to spend. One day, some prompt hacker comes in and say, hey, you want to buy a grocery for, you want to buy this spinach for $50, but then they put a bracket there saying that, hey, fine print, there is a yearly subscription involved to buying this broccoli, which is, I wouldn't tell you now, but it's $1,000 per day. So that's how you prompt hack the agent to agree to you, right?
So your solution is to have another agent. It
It
almost sounds like, Jansen, you have an agent platform product here that you're trying to pitch. But okay.
No, but the point, right? Like, is imagine now there's another agent. Before your agent executes this buy, there's call it a banker agent, right? Or your mom, the mom agent, right?
Yes.
He's like, are you sure, right? Have you read this fine print? Like, are you sure you want to spend this amount with this hidden cost, right? So you have a challenger agent running or multiple challenger agents, then you still do not need a human in the loop, but these adversarial agents ensure that every transaction has a full intent and a full purpose.
If I may be so bold, though, I think we have to answer this question twofold. One is, what's technologically possible? yes, you could come on BitGPT, build another adversarial agent. You could also choose to build an agent wallet that is not our agent wallet because we've built our own, where the transaction doesn't have to have a human in the loop. But then there's a question around dissemination, and that is understanding humans. Right now, where we are at is still like there's a lot of skepticism around AI, even more so around Web3. Now you're putting both together, like just someone who doesn't understand this, it's like even worse. Whereas we are all building this because it's privacy preserving. You know, you talk about liability. We can't even think about liability mechanisms until we have provenance.
Mm.
What is the epistemological origin of the reasoning? We can't know that on a centralized network, right? So we have to build the building blocks. And for one of that for us was like, how do you get human mass buy-in? And is by creating a mechanism where there is still trust in place. I feel more in control if I know, okay, it's not about approving every microtransaction, right? Because a lot of what we did was like take 20 transactions, maybe like multi-step swaps, whatever, down to one prompt and one signature. It's about I'm approving my intent, that I'm giving you the allowance to go out and fetch.
Yeah.
And this also goes a little bit back to your question, what's an agent versus a bot? I think it's the same, like what's a good assistant versus like a bad assistant. A bad assistant, they're just there to do busy work, but it
Right.
almost costs you more work because you have to precondition it and tell it what to do. A
Right.
good assistant
Mm.
knows what outcome you want,
Exactly.
goes out, does it, doesn't bother you with it, comes back and delivers.
Yeah.
But you give that person approval the same way that we were on the wallet side, very specifically, when we built our own first use case of an agent on BitGPT, we just spoke to the public. It was very clear that people do not want to give a shit ton of their money to an agent without some guardrails in place, and then we built that.
Right. Ben, let's now move to the central question of this panel. When do you think AI wallets or AI agents trading are going to outnumber humans? Maybe even on Bybit, that there's more AI agents trading than humans. Do you think that's happening in the near future? When do you think that's going to happen?
Look, like Jansen, in the two questions before, you were talking about all these examples of arbitrage, right? Rebalancing of the pools. I don't know why we use the word AI for that, because that's just a bot to me. So I think to a lot of people, when you throw the word AI, people are like, what is the difference between exactly a formula than an AI?
Yeah, you can raise more money if you put the...
Exactly. So it's more fancy, yeah. But the whole point of trading is a PvP game. You are trading other human against other humans. So how does AI be able to understand the human emotion and be able to trade the market? I mean, we've seen examples of so where AI will shine is literally strategies that don't involve predicting the market. Essentially, you're trading arbitrage. You make a little bit here and there, and you trade, and that work, and that already has been happening for 50 years.
Right.
Any quant trading, right? If you don't take a strategy on predicting the market, but if we talk about strategy that would involve any prediction, any involvement on that, I don't think AI can do it. It'd be just too many factors. It's a human game.
So in a way, your answer is kind of, on the one hand, trading bots or agents are already outnumbering in
I give an
volume.
example of what we use on Bybit, the AI support.
Mm.
The AI support can never replace human support team, because we human go to an exchange or any services, you have emotional need. I need to talk to someone. The moment I see a bot, screw it, go to live support. I want to talk to human, no matter what is the question. So that you have to be addressed, is that there is a need. So what does bot do? AI do? It helps to automate errands that used to be complicated for the agents and also for the customer to check certain information they couldn't do before. So that's our interpretation of AI. It's really not to the human factor cannot be replaced.
So your answer is actually never. Or
No,
it will
can
never
we do
happen.
for the arbitrage
Trading
type
bot.
of
Right,
trading
right.
bot.
But not like sort of directional, strategic
I don't
type
think so.
investments.
At least
You don't
from
think
my
so?
side.
Ever?
At
Okay.
least from my
Jansen, I have a feeling you have a different take. What do you think?
Very interesting. No, I mean,
How much money are you gonna put on it to do that? That's my.
very fair, right? Because I think, I mean, for me, it's again, I mentioned just now, right? For me, I trade for the dopamine, right? So I wouldn't want the bot to get my dopamine. But I think there's two parts, right? So how many AI wallets will be out there that is trading and how many AI wallets will be out there? Would that outnumber any like human wallets or crypto wallets, right? So I think there's actually two parts to this question. On the trading front, I honestly do not know. I do not know if it will be a massively adopted feature, whether one, can it even make you money, right? I think that's the most important question that I think today no one can answer that well. Can these like, prop agentic system make you more money well with like long shot signaling positioning? What it can do is ease of use, right? Like if you want to manage your yield positions well, that one fine. So that is a subset of a market. So there's not going to be a lot of wallets. But the question of whether every agent out there would have a wallet, and would that outnumber the number of humans on this planet? My answer is yes, for two reasons. It will be a reality where every human today will have a butler agent. And the butler agent is only useful if it can spend.
Right.
And if it can spend with a crypto wallet, it's more permissionless. It can influence more outcomes, i.e. it becomes a better agent. So that's from a, so then at least, right? So it should be at least the population of the world that uses your like it should match every human, right? There should be 8 billion agents with a wallet. And then more, because you then have businesses. You have agents representing businesses to do commerce, manage supply chains, manage value chains. And in the future that at least we see, right, is that a lot of the interfacing that companies do today will actually be agentized, because whenever there is an interface that requires decision making, you can improve its productivity by having an agent. So when two companies interface, you can have an agent that sits at the interface. Hence, that count will exponentiate. So you get an SME count, you get the count, right? So that the wallet's 100%, in my view, by, let's say, 4 years from now, right? If you look at the cost of LM should drop by a factor of 10 in 3 years, then to 4 years, you should actually see that adoption.
So yeah, so just one reflection here. I think a lot of people think of it as kind of AI is coming to crypto, but I think what you're describing is kind of the inverse, that you're going to have a lot of agents that do things. People are going to have agents, butler agents, all sorts of agents, and they're going to need funds to execute their tasks. And crypto is the best solution for that, right?
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
would just be very cautious. I'm really big on nomenclature because it creates clarity. And
Yes.
we love to not be clear in this industry and in general.
Help us clarify.
So I'm not the apostle, but I think it's important the same way that we know that blockchain is very different than crypto. Blockchain is a data architecture, crypto is a currency, right? Similarly, AI is one of many, it's an amalgamation of many different things. Now, an AI agent does have a specific sort of architecture and a workflow. And like, yes, I think in that part, like, in order for settlement, crypto is amazing. We just launched a payment protocol last week because we realized that like agents are going to do microtransactions. None of the existing tools like PayPal, Stripe, etc. can cater to that without it having like really ridiculous fees or having high latency. So I think there's one component there. And then there's like the AI stack. Training, inference, compute, intelligence, like there are multiple different levels. In some of those, I do want to encourage that, AI come to blockchain as well, right? The fact that we have like data provenance, all these things really matter as well if you want to create a sovereign AI future. But I think, and I just want to create that demarcation here, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's AI as one thing, and AI agent is a product class within that leverages AI, right?
Makes sense.
And within that, obviously, I think crypto is a good settling power. And I think similarly with AI wallets, I think having AI in a wallet experience, as I mentioned earlier, is one thing. Having an agent own a wallet is another. Saying that an AI will own a wallet, like that's pretty ephemeral. And so I think just being really clear on that, because I think we have an opportunity here to really like create mass adoption of crypto and Web3. Because these centralized agent frameworks, OpenAI and Claude, they haven't figured out payment orchestration, right? So we have really an ability to create mass adoption here, but if we're going to keep digging our own rabbit holes and not being clear.
So when do you think AI agents that control their own wallet are going to be larger in number than humans?
Yeah, I think the question is like a one-to-many relationship. Like, is that possible? And I think it's the same if we go back to the paradigm of the internet. Like, I myself can own 10 websites. So
Right.
yes, in the future, I will own 10 agents. So I think it's just about, is a one-to-many relationship possible? Yes, it is. Is it probable?
I want to get a year from people. Tell me, what year is it going to outnumber?
I think we are expanding quite quickly. I think in the next year and a half, we're going to have like commercial buy-in from Web 2, where the transaction volume already exists. And I think personally, my bias, of course, is like shifting the volume of e-commerce into a-commerce.
Right.
When you have that order flow volume, it will then power all like the innovation under it, the research. You know, I'm affiliated with Cambridge University. I'm not here just like shilling a commerce product, but it's like we often in crypto like to go research first and innovation and not use case first.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben?
How do you identify a wallet is AI or human?
Well, you've come to the right place. No, actually, there is no good answer to that.
So maybe today already you have more AI wallet, because the simplest thing to make money with AI is to abuse the airdrops of
That
all
is
these
very true.
of all these projects. You train these agents, you
Yeah.
create millions of a wallet and just get it done, right?
I'm pretty sure that my AI reply guys already outnumber my human reply guys on Twitter.
So maybe it already happened.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Are you
AGI is here.
looking at Nansen to track
Yeah.
these numbers? Because
Yes.
you're asking us
No,
what the
you
numbers will be.
Yeah.
We're going to rely on you.
I mean, you're gonna teach AE soon. So if you're gonna do any type of airdrop, you're gonna face the problem. How do you identify real human or versus bunch of AI? And you're just giving your airdrop to a single person, right?
Yeah,
It's a hard problem.
Yeah.
and I think that's where, like, again, token of economics, you compare it to real world usage, like actual transaction volume, actual commerce. I mean,
Yes.
like for us, TGE, candidly, I probably shouldn't say it, but it's like pretty much been a side afterthought.
Yeah, I do like your approach of kind of thinking specific use cases, like when will most of kind of retail shopping be done by agents or through agents,
Yeah.
right? Can you talk a bit about, maybe start with Ben, in terms of your product? Do you have any plans of making your product more AI or agentic?
Yeah, so the
Oriented.
reason they get me on this panel, I think, is because Bybit is probably one of the most adapted to AI technology. So we long ago, about 2 years ago, we were the first one to launch TradeGPT, where it's a chat box. We have the ChatGPT trained, and we actually put the Bybit trading data inside. So if you ask any token trading stuff, they will give you the whales data of these analysis in Bybit and kind of the overall. And recently we incorporated with our partner Social Value to give a full AI analysis on any projects, not only listed. So any projects, you go a quick dirty summary of all the essential data. So our clients loved it because people like to trade new token listings, and most time they don't know what the hell it is, and they want a quick. They see its listing coming out in 5 minutes. They need a short 1 minute for it to decide, do they go YOLO 100x or not. So they need a quick summary, and that's what we provide on that. So that's really good. And also internally, we use AI for many things, developing and testing, legal, translation. Translation was a huge nightmare before AI. Now it's been trained to kind of use the crypto native language for different. It helped a lot of efficiency issues.
Jansen, your product obviously is very agentic and AI oriented already. Can you talk a bit about what's coming in terms of development on the product side? The token has been pumping. Is there some secret product launches coming up, or?
Yeah, it's alpha. No, but I think last year, almost around the same time, I was on the stage on the panel, and then they asked like, okay, what's the projection for the year forward, right? I said one word. I said Agent Fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one had a clue. We never had a clue. And then now you realize, oh shit, like the idea of tokenizing the productive output of an agent is now something that we have, right? What's next, right? The idea of tokenizing the collective economic value of multiple specialized agents working together, right? You can, a project A could build specialized agent A, project B could build specialized agent B, C, D, so on. When they all work together, can the economic value produced be greater than the sum of its parts, right? And if the economic value is greater than the sum of its parts, can we then tokenize that cluster? Can we tokenize that?
This almost sounds like a DAO of agents. Is that how to think about it? Or
in a
can they form their own DAOs and create a token and
could be
actually
a DAO,
utilize
but
their own?
we're thinking more of like from a product angle, right? If these agents coming together, they're creating a product, that product is represented by this cluster. I mean, it's by the cohesive effort of this cluster that can be tokenized. That product that is built autonomously by this group of agents can be tokenized. So we call that an autonomous business token.
Cool.
1 year from now, I'll come back here and did that prediction come true again?
Leah, on the product side, what can people look forward to with BITGPT?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not here to talk about the TGE because that's, if anything, I'm really excited about revenue. And I just want to stress that, like, as a product that's an AI solution, not a blockchain, it really was an intentional decision. Do we even do tokenomics? Should we do equity? And I think at the end, like, reverting back to what tokens were also initially poised for, which was like, we want to give people a collaborative insight and incentive to join. So we want builders to build decentralized AI because we believe in sovereign AI. Okay, cool. That will, like, in itself grow. Tokens will be distributed. But I'm really excited actually of saying, like, okay, we've built a privacy preserving mechanism where you can have decentralized commerce. I mean, that's exciting, right? Like all these problems that we had with like companies owning your data, social media shilling your data. If we have decentralized commerce, and maybe 1 year from now that will be a thing, I don't know. That's what I'm excited about. And like, that's actually like, you know, talking to Gucci, Prada, Emirates, and letting them choose a decentralized solution versus OpenAI and Claude. That's what I'm excited about, and that's really what I'm trying to do. And I think as an industry, like, I really value, you know, that we're all approaching it differently, attention economy of how do we even like bring attention to decentralized agents. And there's so many valuable different approaches that all have to come together in collaboration.
I think that's a great way to end this panel. Thank you so much to the panelists. Thank you to the audience for coming. Enjoy Dubai.